introduce our guest for today, who's Evelyn Abdallah. She's the one taking us through this session, and I'll just let her jump right in. How you go, Evelyn?
Thank you so much, Holiday. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. The topic today is how we package ourselves. So, who are you? What is it? How do you project yourself to the world? Who do people see? Who do people see when they look out? Who do people identify with? Good. I think I've gotten it now.
Now I can see it.
Good. Yes. So we share just so how do you package yourself to the world, and looking at mostly the professional line. So that is what we want to go through. And I'll start by just introducing myself, who I am and whose I am. I think it's also important to identify the root of who someone is. First and foremost, I say I am a child of God. So there are things that I do, or there are things that I subscribe to that emanate from that. I'm also a people developer. What does it mean? Anyone that I interact with, I want to make a change in them through inspiring them and just making them know that they actually can utilize the talent and skills that they have to make a difference to the world. I also have years of experience, over a decade of experience in not-for-profit sector in different territories. Those are some of them in sub-Saharan Africa, so Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and Sierra Leone. Currently, my current role is Regional Head of People and Development, covering the Sub-Saharan Africa at Education Development Trust. So this is an organization that covers, that looks at education at different areas. So from tertiary, primary, secondary, and even systems. So working with government and also working with school and school systems. What do I do? My role encompasses a lot of things, including just making sure that the people resource that we have, one, are well taken care of so that they can give whatever they were recruited for. One of the aspects is safeguarding for the staff, but also in the projects that we work, or the people that we work with, and the communities that we work with. I also do budgeting. I am a budget holder, policies and procedures. So the things that govern our relationship in the organization, procurement, administration, and also property, where we actually the offices. I also I've overlooked IT, been in charge of IT, and also security. Security both for the staff and the people that work with us, short term or long term. What are some of my qualifications? So I'm a certified human resource professional. I have a higher diploma in human resource management. My background, my undergraduate is in sociology. So I'm a Bachelor of Arts student, sociology. I mastered also in the same in human resource management. And currently I'm pursuing a master's in counseling psychology. So let's get to the today. So the agenda briefly, this is what we'll cover. So who are you? Just a CV format, and also how to package yourself. So I'll start with this question. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And as we go ahead, I will just say if we can, if we are able to put any questions on the chat, if we are able, because I'm not, I can't see both screens, if you're able to put questions on the chat, and then I can respond later, or you can put up your hand. I think, Halida, you'll help me with that, just seeing where, if someone has put up their hand, if we have. Yes. So who are you? How do you package yourself? And when you look at packaging, so we present ourselves to different people in different formats. So it would be when you're with your friends, you package yourself differently. When you're with your family, when you're maybe in a social setup, when you're in school, you package yourself differently. So who are you? Have you really defined who you are, and what is important to you, or who do you want to exhibit? So it's important to define, and sometimes you may not know exactly who we are, or how we depict ourselves in the society. So there are different tools that are there to help us. to do that. And I don't know if any of us have done that. So there are personality tests that one can do. There are different tests. There's the MBTI, Myers-Briggs. So there are very many tools in the environment, in the space now, but there are some that I can actually recommend. One, because they've been used a lot, or even employers use them a lot. So there's the MBTI. There's the free one, there's also the paid one, but the free one equally gives you good information. There's also a colors test. You can do a colors test just to know who you are. There's to know which in terms of personality. So knowing who you are and also knowing the people around you. I even encourage in terms of the family setup, if you're able even to do it as a family, so that you know the different personality types that we are. So who do you define yourself as? One, within yourself. And then we need also to know the way we define ourselves might also be different how people view us. So it's also important to have a balance of those two. Know also how people view us and how we present ourselves to the society. So how do you want to define present yourself to the society? And this is just not to do when you're looking for a job or business. So I want to cover both, because not all of us maybe would want to go into employment, some are business, different things. So how do you present yourself to your customers? How would you want to present? And you have to be very deliberate in terms of how you come across. And how do you do this, get this information? One, as I've said, the assessment test, and even just talking to people. How do they experience you? And this would be people who are close to you, people who you trust, not just anyone, people who you trust, and they will give you feedback and be very specific. Maybe when in such a situation, how am I? And then go down and say, who do I want to present myself? Who do I want to be? It's a journey. It's a journey. And even as you do personality tests, there's no good or bad personality, whatever comes. So their strengths and weaknesses. So to know what are the weaknesses and then how you can work around the weakness or the areas that are not strong, or even how to leverage. If you have a colleague who is strong in areas that you are not, how do you leverage that? If you're in business, how do you employ or make sure you are able to bring in people who have the skills that you don't have? So knowing who you are, very important, and actually defining that. Let not people define you. Don't take definitions from people. Of course, initially you will take feedback, but sit down and say, who do I want to project myself to as in the world? And why is that? So have the why also, why you actually want to project yourself in a certain way. Be it be because of the career path you want to take, be it be because of the person that you want to become in future. And it takes time. It takes time to actually build that. Then I'll come to the CV. So I think one is a bit blur, sorry for that, but I wanted us to compare the two. Which one looks better in terms of just if you are, but just looking at the one on the left or the one on the eye. So this one I will ask us, someone to tell me which one looks better. Irrespective of being blur, which one would you say, if you get this one I will actually read and go through and be interested? In terms of
Okay, the CV on the right is more visible and clear than the one on the left.
Okay. So in terms of visibility, seeing, and in terms of just the outline, busyness and what have you, being busy or being with information. So which one would you go for? Eva, still?
I think I'd go with the one on the right.
The one on the right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's come and talk about CV. So what is a CV and why do we have CVs? So this is to highlight your skills, experiences to someone who might not know, or when you're seeking an opportunity. And how do you have that? First and foremost, I recommend having a master CV. So this is one CV that has information. And there are so many, you can get, in terms of just template, there are so many templates online, but I can share a few maybe after we finish, like what I've just shared. So there are those that are brief, there are those that are detailed, and there are so many templates online in terms of what you have. But have one master CV. This is one big CV that has all and every information that you have. And I would recommend we start building this as early as soon as we can, even as you're just in school, for those who are still in school, for those who've transited or started working or are in that space, are still looking for something to do. Make sure you have a CV that contains each and everything. So many. What do you put in that CV? You put your qualifications, be it academic, any trainings you do. You also put a summary in terms of the things that you have done. So if you're in school, did you participate in any sports? Did you have any leadership positions? Leadership, we mean even class representative in sports. Were you either the team captain? What did you do even while you were in school? So this is when you're starting young in your career. What are the things that you did even after, just outside what you are doing, you're learning? Put them in that CV. And also highlight in terms of the period when that occurred. What are the period? When was that you did that? Highlight the skills. Are there skills that you actually learned? So are there short courses that you've done? And there is a lot nowadays. Online, you can do so many courses. Are there skills that you have acquired as a result? Not just doing a course, but is it something that you can actually, if someone gives you, you're able to do it? Achievements also, you also put it there. So one, CV, have a master one, and master means a big one that has everything and anything. But this one you build over time, because if you don't build over time, there are things you forget as you go ahead. Then I would recommend also, don't don't copy the job description if you're working or when you start working. Don't copy is the job description, what you did, but a summary of what that job entailed. Like what I've just given, what is the summary of the job? So I cover policy and procedure, employee experience, it's safeguarding. So just putting, but in a sentence format, what was the role, what is the summary, then now highlight what are the key achievements that you actually did for that particular role. What are the achievements, or what are the things that actually were successful in that particular role, and any skills that were acquired. Then in terms of just hobbies, not a must. Hobbies not a must, and even sometimes I say I wouldn't recommend unless your hobby will actually build or would bring something, will add value to the job that you're seeking, because sometimes that is how now you also open yourself up to interviewees. But if you strongly feel there are hobbies that maybe you also invested a lot of time, you can put there. Then when it comes to each role, when you're applying for each role or when you're getting each role, so maybe just to go back in terms of the format, looking the one on the right. So having a summary of a professional summary. And for those who are new, just as having a summary now, defining who you are. That's why I was saying, who are you? Define who you are. And don't also fall on the temptation that you have to have a lengthy CV. So sometimes I see people put the subject and the scores. No, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a long CV. Sometimes less is more. So even just a short CV even helps whoever is actually looking at it. By glancing at it, they're able to pick out what are the things. So having a summary of who you are, what are the qualification or skills that you have, and then going now to the different experiences that you have. Then and it can be different formats. So you might start with just a summary of who you are, and then put like your experiences, and then at the bottom bring in what are the qualifications that you have, what are the academic qualifications, and also the professional qualifications that you have. And then at the tail end, you can have referees, but not a must, because we're also in an age of data protection. Or if you put your referees, maybe not putting in the information in terms of just their detailed information, but putting in probably just probably their names, and email still is considered personal data. So sometimes even just putting referees will be given on request. Sometimes we ask that when we need that. So what is the purpose or the difference between the master CV and any other CV? So the master CV is the one that has everything and anything that you have. Now, when it comes to when you get a job, when you want to apply for a job, or someone has told you we are looking for such and such a role, are you able to do it? Can you send me your CV? Don't send the master. Now make a tailor-make a CV for each role. I say looking for work is work. So you have to take that master CV and then now you have to fish out what is it that is important to this particular role, because different role will want different aspects of yourself. I will start with I give an example of myself. Yes, I have wide experience in different areas. So let's say administration, procurement, IT, security. So the same is also for us. Whenever we are actually out looking for a job, see what is relevant, what are they looking, and how will you know what is relevant? Going through the job description that has been advertised, or if someone gives you a summary, this is what you're looking for. Go out in the net. Now there's so much information. What does that position entail? And then making that. And that tailored CV highlights your skills, your achievement that are relevant to whatever job. Then I want to also just give us information in terms. Now a lot of organizations are using application tracking systems. So when the applications come in, not all of them are actually seen by someone. So what happens, there are some systems, not all of them, some systems you can actually set for this particular role, these are the skills that I need. So when it comes in, it goes through the CV, and then if that CV has, it actually rates. This one is 50% meets whatever you're looking for, this one 70, this one 80, this one 90. So how do we make sure that our CV actually passes if a system is one that recruits or does the first long listing? How do you make sure that it passes? Go through the JD. As I was saying, the job description. What are they saying they are looking for in terms of just the role? What are the functions of the role, the tasks that the role is supposed to perform? What are the skills? When you're writing, when you're tailor making your job descriptions, make sure you have relevant areas that are actually required. Not copy pasting the job description as has been advertised, but things that are actually related. So let's say like a job has said they want someone who has someone who can actually do child protection, or someone who has done something to do with child protection. Make sure your CV maybe captures something to do with safeguarding, for safeguarding cuts across, also encompasses child protection. So having those, so the trick is also to learn what are the terminologies that you need to, that have been used in the job description, not word for word, but also similar words, because that is what the system will pick and say, okay, this person qualifies. And it's not about lying, it's actually if skills that you have. Then what else how else can we package ourselves or sell ourselves? There are many forums. The biggest one, professional forum, is LinkedIn. I don't know if the majority of us are there. So maybe at the end, as we are discussing, just to know if we have a LinkedIn profile and what do you do about it. So when your LinkedIn is just not to have a dormant profile. So make sure you actually go through once in a while, contribute to discussions. What is someone put an article that is interesting, go through it. Are you able to actually give a comment or say something about it? Now, sometimes it's even social. If it's someone's birthday, it will highlight to you. So just keeping in contact. And then you're also able to network or even build your connection, because if you're in LinkedIn, it will suggest maybe people who are similar in your profession, or the people that you're linked with, or the people that you have as part of your list, the people that they connect with. So you're able to expand your connection that way. So you also share, you can actually write an article of something that you maybe your area or an experience that you have, an activity that you did, so putting it out there. When actually, I would say for CVs, make sure you actually are very to the point. Make sure, don't go to the details, as I was saying, especially when you're starting. Don't list the job. If they want to see what you scored, don't list the subjects and the scores. They will ask for your transcript. Just say what you are, what you did, and that's it. So if they want more information, don't feel bad. Sometimes even one-page CVs are better. If you're able to have a one-page CV but captures everything, that is actually better. And then going now up, how do you present yourself? So let's say now you have gotten in. So your CV has gone in, you've applied for a job, your CV has been shortlisted, and you've been invited to an interview. Let me cover a bit about the cover letter, because there are some applications that want cover letter. Most also have an application form. So you fill a form, but you also have to say how are you suited with that particular role. So in the cover letter, what are you supposed to say? It's not a replica of the CV. It's a summary in terms of just saying why you're interested in that job. So why should you be chosen and not another candidate? So expressing your interest, and this is where now you weave in what are your skills, what are some of the experiences you've had. And experience doesn't have to be work. It is in school. I was a school captain, or I was a deputy school captain, and I was able to lead my my classmates or my colleagues, and you are able to win or even compete. I was a teammate. I played soccer or I played this, so I know how to just interact with teams. So in terms of working with teams, so you're able even to weave. Don't overthink. Just what is it that you have done? Are there things that you have done that may be online? Are there things you have sold online? Are there things even you have sold yourself? So I'll give my own example. What I did before getting into formal employment, I used to hawk. And there's a way I packaged it in my CV, and I said I am in sales, and what do I do? How I communicate with customers, so I'm able to interact with people and sell products to them. So don't feel that you have to have formal experience, but just even whatever thing that you have done, especially when you're starting out, and be truthful. That such that if someone asks you questions, you're able to actually answer. One of the things that I want to also talk about is now you've gotten your foot and you've been invited for an interview. I'll go in details in terms of just how to prepare for an interview in the next slide. But one thing I want to highlight is in terms of our dress codes. Dress code, they should be clean, of course, well-fitting attire, then matching the context. So in a bank, you need to do background in terms of the setting where you're going. What is the dress code like? There are some that are easy. They don't even have a defined dress code, so it's up to you. But make sure you're just decent. But then there are those that are quite formal, like banks. But also to understand, even where it is not defined, who are the people interviewing you? Who are the people going to actually talk to you? Who are the people you'll be working with? These are baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials. Now, this generation has been used to formal, there's a way that someone dresses when you're going to work, so formal. Not to be put in a box, but just your style, but make sure you actually are able to align or with whatever dress code is for that industry. If it is not defined in an organization, what is that industry? What does that industry define? So some may just say, as long as you are presentable, maybe before clients. So what does presentability mean? So when we are going, and I know nowadays we are a bit easy on that. So the dress code, whether you're interviewing online or offline, just make sure you are able to present yourself. Crocs, no Crocs. Unless you're working from home, no Crocs. You can't come to interviews with Crocs. And then also practice your speaking. How do you speak? How do you present yourself? And some of these things, it is either practicing with someone or even yourself in front of a mirror. How are you able to project? Are you able to talk clearly? So you practice that. And then appreciating and also respecting people's time. Yeah, so I was talking about the CV and how to present yourself. So you've gotten into that door, you've gotten an opportunity, you have dressed for the job, you have dressed ready for the interview, and you're going to be interviewed. So how do you make sure it's just not about the interview, but you actually hack, you actually get the job? So that, but I'll also share the slides after this. I'll share the slides after this, but just in the interest of time, I think I can go ahead in the interest of time. So how do you prepare for the interview? I said, as I had alluded earlier, looking for a job is like a job. It's a full-time job in itself. So you've gotten the invite, you're now invited to you've been invited now, you've gotten that opportunity to be interviewed. What do you do, or how do you present yourself? One, prepare. Just as you prepare for your exams, I don't know if you prepare for your exams, just as you prepare for your exams, I'm sure you do, I'm not sure. You prepare for your exams, that is the way you will prepare for the interview itself. check the job description, because that is exactly what the employer says they want, or those are the skills or the person they want. That is what they want the person to do. Go through it line by line. And as you go through it, write, what is my experience? So it says this person must be able to either make sales, or this person will be required to make sales. So have I ever made a sale? And a sale, don't think that it has to be in a formal setting. As I said myself, it was a hawking. I was hawking. Yeah, that one I was making sales. So how do I package it and say, how did I do it? So prepare, go line by line. What are the tasks that are said, or what is it that they say that they want to be done, that they are looking at to be done? What is it that they want to be done, and how are they? What skills or what do I require to have for that? Do I have any experience? And even if you don't have experience, then how would you go about doing that? So if you're given an opportunity, how do you go about doing that thing? Go each line by line on what is in the job description. That this is it, this is what I've done. If I've not done, how would I go about doing this task? It will take you time, but go through the whole job description. Then the other thing, when you're also preparing, prepare in terms of the salary. What do you want to be paid? What is your worth? I say define your worth even before looking what the market pays, because employers will pay you for what you're worth, and also how you present yourself. Yes, employers have salary structures, which is important, as it has to be struck within a certain remuneration within everyone. But just have that. What is my worth? And how do you get salary information? One, it's online, and there's a lot of it online. So through Glassdoor, there's also networks. Do you know people who are working there, or do you know someone who knows someone who works even in that organization? What is the range of the salary that they pay? And when you're doing, don't only look local. Please look wider, either regional or global structures. What is being paid in London for such a position? What is being paid in the US, in Japan, in China? Of course, it will vary because of the cost of living, but make sure you actually look at that information, so that when that question comes, if it comes, most of the time it does, you are prepared for it. Then go on time, arrive on time. This shows respect for the people's time, but also when interviews are being done, it's one after the other sometimes. So if you miss your time, you'll either be rushed, or you'll even miss your slot. So either arrive on time if it's a physical interview, if it's logging in, even log in 5 minutes before time and wait, because you have to be admitted. Just log in on time and wait. So it's important that you also that it sends a message about who you are. And how do you start? So by just self-introduction. If you know who you are, you're able to have this easy. So do it warm, concise, to the point, not sharing irrelevant details. And then just saying who you are, and then now settle to the interview. Now, when you're going through, as the questions are coming, or as you're being now asked the different questions, make eye contact with the different panelists. If it's a physical one, if it's an online one, to actually see you are looking at them, look at the camera. That is the trick, to look at the camera. Unless you're doing a presentation, so maybe you have to glance also down. But when you look at the camera, the other side sees that you're looking at them. How do you answer the questions? There's something called the STAR technique. STAR technique. S standing for situation, T task, A action, and R result. So when you're answering a question, use it to actually use that technique. So they say, tell us about your experiences in sales. So let me use the example of sales. Then, so you describe the situation. So using the STAR technique. So how do you go about it? During my tenure as a sales assistant in this organization, during the time that I was doing sales, doing some business as I was going to school, I used to sell clothes. And this, what I would do is I actually sold clothes in different areas within the town and the estate to gain income, to have some money during that time. So I would move from one place to another, one estate to the other. One, talking to the different people. I would talk to the watchmen, ask them, can they give me an opportunity to enter the estate? If not, I would look for a strategic point where I would put my wares, display my wares, and even just encourage customers to come and check, not even check, even if they're not buying, to come and take. And as a result, I was able to make sales each and every day that I went out. So using the STARK technique, what is the situation, what is the task, what is the action, and what are the results? And you don't have to be asked, especially if they are say, give us an example, you can do that. But especially they've invited you to a competency, they've told you it's a competency interview, deliberately do that. So you say, you describe whatever situation. So giving an example, but then this one keeps you to the mark. What is the situation, the task, the action, and the results. Then in terms of if you're required to do a presentation, because there are sometimes roles that require you to do a presentation either prior, so they'll ask you to either do a presentation prior and then come and present, or you can do a presentation and then send it prior, and then they'll ask questions from that. So when you're doing that presentation, make it very appealing. Also make it very appealing to the people doing it. Find out information about them and put relatable or examples that they can. Then at the very end, when you are done your interview, it would be important, one, to just ask, as they say, do you have any questions at the end of the day? Always ask a question. It's important to ask, because this is a new either organization or new people you're meeting. Yeah, so I want to move in terms of just the digital world and how do you package yourself. Maybe if I do this, let me not put full screen, if this is visible.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do we succeed? What do we need to do to succeed in the digital world? So that is about, I think that is just about interviews and CVs, but you can have questions. I can take questions later. If you have any questions, so that you don't forget about that, just type it and then we'll tackle at the end. Then we are looking at succeeding in the digital world. So we are living in the digital space, and this has it defines like everything, most of the things that we do. So what are we looking at, or when we talk about digital world? So we are looking, how do we become competent and how do we gain from it? So we are looking at things like the skills, the practices, and even just the what are the things that are around it that are actually regulating that particular things, and the different tools we can get. More and more is also how we are perceived or how we present ourselves in the digital area. So how do people see us? Just as I said, how do people see you? How do you see yourself? And then there are now legislations that have come around it. So there's an aspect of data protection, both for yourself and the information that you put there, out there, and also well-being. How do you ensure you are safe? How do you ensure that you are able to take care of yourself? Even as you interact with machines or you interact with tools that are actually good in the day-to-day, but how do you ensure that you're yourself and even able to balance? So this is looking at the digital you. So what is the interface between yourself and the digital world, which now is becoming real and real every other time? So this is one, how we see ourselves and how others see us is very different. And one, just as I said, getting doing the personality test, knowing who you are. And also online, someone can come off very differently. And we know there are people who can want to depict a certain image online. So they only post certain things or do certain things. Or there are those who say, you know what, my private life can never be online. So it is, you decide yourself, what do you want to be your digital footprint? So it's important as you do that, and I know now it's a lot, and I even know you're even more informed than me, and I would really want to learn even from us in terms of what are the new things and how are you leveraging on them. One, for your studies, but even as you look for jobs or even as you just do new things. So there's the image that we depict, and for our information, actually, employers look at this. Employers go out when they are almost want to offer, or if they are reaching at the point of shortlisting. So how is this person online? And it's just as simple as a Google search. I don't know when was the last time you Googled your name and what came out, or did you Google what came out? Are there things that you're proud of? Are there things that maybe you need to edit if you're able to edit them? Because if they come out in one scenario or another, they wouldn't be good. So there's a lot of information out there. Sometimes it can be information overload. So just being deliberate in terms of what is useful for you. One, in your studies, we know that is very important, and even as you interact with others. So how do we succeed? How do we go about it? So there are different ways. We can leverage on that to continuously learn, to continuously grow, and even shaping who we are. So there's a lot of online learning, and even in organization, we've now embraced that. Like in my current organization, there's something called the Learn system. So this is a lot of material is there, thousands of material, and you can go in and learn. So there are videos, there are articles, there are courses, both short term and long term. There are those that you can do for 5 minutes. There are those that you can do for a month, for 3 months. So there's the continuous learning. And even now, there's a lot of information even on board, but be very deliberate. What skill do you want to learn? How do you go about it? So maybe you say, I want in marketing. So go out for the things that are marketing for a certain period. You say 6 months, I want just to learn more about marketing. Then are there webinars? Are there things that are just happening? Are there articles that are there? So looking at LinkedIn, are there courses that you can do? Then building an online presence, especially now, let me cover professionally. Professionally, the tool that is used mainly by employers at the moment is LinkedIn. Probably another one would come as we see technology changes from time to time. So LinkedIn, how do you build that profile? So one is just as basic as putting up your profile. Photo, what is it that you have done, or what is it that you're doing, what are your qualifications? Then now connecting with different groups, or connecting with different people, starting with the ones you know. Sometimes it might not be the ones you know. There are people you're interested in, or there are industries you're interested in, connecting that and going there once in a while and just seeing what is there. Building your profile, as I had alluded earlier, doing an article if you can, commenting in terms of things that are posted by others. So you build your profile that way. And then are there things, even as you learn, there are skills you can get. And these skills are fluid. They change from time to time. So whatever was there even 2 years ago is not what is there now or required now. So build yourself. Build yourself in terms of what are the skills. And even outside your area. Yes, you are in marketing. Yes, you're in HR. But are you able to code? Are you able to do something else? Are you able to market? Because now we are in an area where you need to build skills all around. As this one will set you apart. So you're just not coming as everyone else, but what do you have in addition? And apart from the digital skills that we build, don't forget also the skills that you build as a person, because the personal relationship are still there. Even if you're working online, working from home, as most organizations are still doing, there are those that have working from home or hybrid. My current employer, we have hybrid. So there are days you can work from the office, there are days you can work from home. You still have to build the skills, because how are you able to interact with colleagues? Even if they are remote teams, are you able to interact with them at the level of, it's not like just, machine or mechanical. Are you able just to have those skills of problem solving? Are you able to work as a team? Then one thing I also want to highlight, even as we are building our skills, also learn about cultures. Especially now that the world has really opened up, you will work with people from different cultures. And cultures, I would start as simple as within us, the different areas. So let's say an example of someone from Nairobi and Mombasa. What are the cultures there and how do they influence work? Then going out, what is the culture maybe of Tanzania versus Kenya, Japan versus Kenya, US versus Kenya, UK? Because now the world is open and you can work for any employer anywhere. So that is one thing I also want to encourage us. Don't just apply for positions that are Kenya based. Please open up your mind and also open up your networks in terms of where the positions that you apply for. You don't have to be based there. You can be based here, be 100% home based, and you're facilitated in terms of your work. So even when that time comes to search for a job, or you're looking for a job, please be as open. Don't see an opportunity that is outside and say I can't, especially when they say the location is flexible. or they say it is remote, because you have jobs that are remote, put in your application and then prepare. Prepare, because if it is global, then it means you're competing with someone from the US, you're competing with someone from Japan, you're competing with someone. So you have to make sure you are a cut above the list. What is the competitive advantage that you're actually bringing to that particular role? The social media, that is very common. How do you leverage it? Are you able to actually share your expertise? So it might be something, a post you put, and it can be short posts that you put. What are the experiences that you have? Is it something that you went for a meeting or even learned in class? Information that you can share. And then people will actually, there's someone maybe who might be looking for someone who has a skill in this, or someone who has information about something. And when they search, you come up and they can get in touch. So use the social media not just to connect. And now even the social media is now used even in the workplace. So how do you leverage? Of course, you use it to connect with other people, the social aspect of it, but how are you able to actually make sure you even have a footprint that brings a professional image for you? So those are the types of ways, or I would say that is how you can leverage the digital space to actually succeed. I have not gone into the specifics because I know there are so many websites and whatever, but I can recommend a few that you can go, especially if you're looking for a job. There's a website called Relief Web. This is majorly if you're looking maybe to go into the humanitarian NGO sector. Your Relief Web, they have jobs that they post there. For us in Kenya, what we do, we also post in jobs in Kenya. So there are local sites, jobs in Kenya. In other countries, also have local sites. In Rwanda, there's also a local site that we actually also post in. So also look at the local sites, but always follow the link if it's to the website. Like for us, it's a link, but the application has to be made through the website. So also being keen, what are the details of the role, that particular role, and the application details. So Relief Web, there's the jobs in Kenya, and majorly what most organizations are doing, because it's cost cutting, they advertise within their own website. So if you identify an organization that you want to work with, is it Deloitte? So you say, I want to work with Deloitte. So what do? I will register. So some you can actually register with them. You can either put your CV, like for our organization, you can put your CV, and when opportunities come, they'll either reach out to you or even say, you subscribe, you say, if this opportunity comes, I'm interested, it will send you a link.
What we talk about these virtual forums are very insightful. We get so much information from here, much growth. So feel free to be part of the community, and you never know, maybe you can be part of the next cohort as well, and just get to see what Nuggets of Life is about. So thank you so much, Agala, for that. We've had such an insightful session. Thank you. This morning has been very constructive, yeah. And I just want to thank everyone for finding the time to be here. You're leaving this place with more growth, more information. Like you're even like a better person than when you were joining. At least that's how I feel. I hope everyone else feels the same.